get some money in my pocket, then I guess I'll just have to walk around my neighborhood. But I wanna be good so bad. I wanna be good so bad, so bad. Yeah, I wanna be good so bad. But bad desire is all I've ever had. And I wanna take a ride up in the sky and watch all of the aeroplanes just pass me by. And I wanna see a Learjet liner take a dive, just to show all of these people what it means to be alive. But I wanna be good so bad. I wanna be good so bad, so bad. Yeah, I wanna be good so bad. But bad desire is all I've ever had.
But I guess I should start with like probably a trigger warning, even though most of the people who probably come to these have an idea that that's going to happen, just for my own sanity. Just gonna start with that. But I guess I'll start at the beginning. I have a great-ish parents. I have a great dad, and they were semi-great together. But when I was growing up, we had some issues with my dad's parents. My grandmother's husband at the time was abusive, and I tried to tell both my parents. My parents understood, but my grandmother did not believe me, which led to like a lot of trauma with me and the court process, and my parents even. And I did not realize this as like a toddler, right? But it brought up a lot of trauma for my mom, who went through similar things that she didn't remember until going through the process with me and my description. And my parents ended up getting divorced because my mom couldn't deal with that trauma, and she expressed it in a lot of ways that were not healthy. And for those of you that don't know, as a speaker, I should probably go through my history a little bit more, but for those of you that do know me a little bit, my mother is an alcoholic. I'm in recovery, but I know that if I were to go back tomorrow, I would definitely also be an alcoholic. I would drink alcoholically. I cannot drink normally. And it's been that way for a long time in my family. We have a history of it, so it's nothing brand spanking new. But from there, my parents got divorced in 2008. So they got joint custody. They tried to do the right thing, but my mom is going through what she's going through, and I end up having to take care of my brother while she's sort of partying and doing her thing. And I'm a child, and I'm calling my dad on the little cell phone I have, like, this is the place where we're at, some dude's house, like, please come get us. And my mom and I end up not having a great relationship from then on, because I'm sort of pissed at her, because I already had a portion of my childhood taken away by somebody, and I didn't have control of that. Now somebody else is taking the rest of it away, which she would. Now that I'm an adult, I know that she was going through her own shit, and so, but as a child, you don't quite get that. You get that you're a child taking care of somebody else's child, and that has, my brother and I still have like a very different relationship than a lot of other siblings, because I'm very much like a mom to him. all the time. I'm like, don't, like I've been very mama bear with him a lot, of very protective of him still. But my dad ended up getting remarried to a wonderful woman who I call my Nima, which is Cree for the other mom, and she and I like got very close, which and I know that like there are some people who are moms in here, so I don't know like if you might feel the same way with their child, but my mom immediately got protective of our relationship, and not, and I mean, like, this is also part of her thing that she thought somebody was she didn't want anybody to take me away from her, and the more she tried to pull close to me, the more I pulled away, because we had done it, like I've waited for you, you didn't want to show up, so I'm going to be with people who show up. And I ended up being with my dad full time. I asked that he have full custody. Just, they didn't do anything formally in court. I just told her I didn't want to see her. And she and I really fought about it. Getting into like my teenage years, my preteen years, we fought about it all the time. I told her I didn't want to be around her boyfriends. And she's been remarried a few times, and I didn't want to be around those guys. And I ended up, she was in the cycle of abusive relationships, and I didn't want to be the one taking care of my brother. And it just got to a point where my brother was even up at night at my dad's house, like saying, we have to go get mom, like we have to go make sure she's doing this and that, or not smoking, or not doing this. And he was like, we are not leaving this house. And my brother's anxiety got to a point where he went to, he just couldn't sleep. Like he would walk around the house at night. He's like single digits, like he's not capable of all this. And he just couldn't deal. He dealt with it in a different way. My mom left for a full year to go to New York to find herself, dropped us off at her dad's, and just decided she needed to go find herself, which for me it was like, okay, cool, like you've left, cool. And for my brother, that was traumatic and terrible. And as soon as she came back, he went to her house, and he didn't leave. He didn't go back to my dad's for holidays, for pretty much anything. He wouldn't go home, because in his mind, if he stayed and he fixed whatever was making her upset, she wouldn't leave, which is a lot to put on a child. I was, in my teenage years, I was so mad about that, like, how dare you put that on your children? And it really changed her relationship with me. And then going into my teenage years, I really didn't have I had my stepmom, but I always felt like she and I weren't as connected, because that relationships takes, so much time and effort to build to be so seamless like it is now. And I just wasn't sure that I should put in the effort for somebody who I wasn't sure would be there. And looking back, I wish I had, because she is still here and she's still amazing. And I've put her through hell. But into my teenage years, I cut off all my hair into this pixie cut. Because I felt the need to, and I often felt the need, I went through a lot of self-harm and things that I could control in myself. Like, I felt like my life was out of control, and I wanted to control things that in a way that only I could. And so that was sort of the things that I did. And I always, in the way that things were going, I couldn't see my brother as much as I wanted to, which really hurt. And I wasn't sure that my mom and I would ever be okay. And I had at several points contemplated like as a teenager, I contemplated suicide, because I was like, if this is my whole life, I can't do it. And the only reason I didn't was because I was like, my brother will have nobody but my mom. And my mom can't, if my mom goes through that, she's not gonna live through it, he's not gonna live through it. So I had to like, I felt like I needed to control things in some way. So I had a lot of acts of self-harm, and I developed an eating disorder because food was one of the one things I could control. I cut all of my hair off. And then boys, being boys in middle school and high school, called me names because I had short hair, but I was also a teenager, so I was, like, I basically, like, they called me a he, she, and I looked like a tranny because I had boobs, but, like, I had no hair. And so I felt like my self-value and my image was, like, in the toilet, despite my dad's best efforts, despite my dad's best efforts and the daily affirmations they gave me, like, I just felt like complete crap. And when I finally did meet somebody who gave me attention, like, that was it. Like, I was 13, and I wanted any form of affection and attention that I could get that wasn't obligated to me. Like, my family has to give me affection and attention. You don't, which was toxic. It led to a completely toxic relationship where I was taken advantage of in many ways. And it went on for years, this toxic relationship with my dad trying to pull me out, and me not wanting to be pulled out because nobody who's gonna like me, who's gonna care about my messed up situation with my mom, who's gonna, like, care about me. And I didn't see that there are a million people out there who could potentially care about me. I have friends who care about me, or anything like that, and I let my guard down to people who didn't deserve it, and I was then in situations I should never have been in. And I should have listened to my dad. I told my dad myself a million times I should have listened to my dad, which, I mean, people suck. So, I mean, I'm not sure how much that would have changed, but I ended up being raped by this boyfriend that I had, and I didn't know what to do. And because I knew I would get in trouble for being with him, I didn't feel the need to tell anybody, which is stupid. I didn't want to go through the court process like I went through when I was a child with my grandfather. I didn't think anybody would believe me, and so I sat with that, and I continued to, hurt myself and restrict my eating in a way to, like, control myself. And it was the best way of a 14-year-old can cope with that. You have, like, no skills. And eventually it ended. Thank God it ended. And when it ended, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was 15, and I started then trying to get attention in any way I could, and the only friends I had at the time were stealing their parents' alcohol and drinking. And so I was like, well, like, my parents don't have alcohol. My dad never had alcohol in the house, which, honestly, thank God he didn't, because if I had started doing that, like, I have no idea where I would have been. But I would, like, I would tell my dad I was going to these people's houses, but he had no idea because their parents had no idea that we were doing that. And I thought that I was being a normal teenager because in every stupid movie and TV show you watch, like, this is what they do. They drink together and they have a good time. But then I started realizing that was the only way I was having any sort of good time. And we were playing games, but I couldn't. I noticed that I know a lot of people say it, and it sounds so cliche, but, like, when we were playing, when somebody told me to do it, I really didn't want to do it. But then once it did, like, I felt like I had finally gotten comfortable in my own skin, which really sucked because I didn't know what to do after that. Like, you wake up the next morning and you're like, I've got to do that again. Like, now I'm an awkward teenager who cannot be comfortable unless unless I'm drinking. And I knew that I couldn't drink well, the rules were like not to drink at school, and the goody two shoes I was like, well, I can't drink at school, but I can do this and that. And I would spend every time I could with these friends trying to make excuses for us to play these games. And I realized nobody wants to play these games. I'm the only one that's trying to play drinking games with my friends, trying to make excuses. And they're like, well, I don't want to sneak my parents' alcohol. And I knew I wasn't acting like myself because, like I said, like I'm the rule follower and the parent. I'm the mom friend of the group, and I'm telling people like, oh, go downstairs to your parents' liquor cabinet. Let's go steal it. And they're like, what the hell? And I'm like, no, I need to feel comfortable. And I started recognizing that this wasn't normal, but I didn't care, if that makes any sense. I didn't care, and I started making new friends who were in the same habits that I was. Like, they wanted to drink and they wanted to get fucked up, and they didn't care what happened to them after that. And I had made really bad friends at that time, and that went on. My parents had no idea that it went on because I was doing it every weekend, and I was reconciling myself to the fact, like, well, I'm not doing it like my mom did it. I'm not drinking every night. I'm not going out and making a fool of myself, But the fact of the matter was, it was just binge drinking. Like, that doesn't make it any better to like take this, to put it all on one weekend and then make it, to go on a binge and then like go back and go on a binge and go back, because I had no business drinking like that. And it wasn't like I could just have one. It wasn't like I'm at a party and I'm like, oh, I'll just have one and I'll have a good time and I'll get loose. It was like, it's all or nothing. And it continued like that for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And my brother was still living with my mom, and I really didn't get the chance to see him, but I was pretending it wasn't happening, and I was living my own life and doing my own thing. And then my older brother, who is my stepmom's son, but my brother started battling his own addiction, and I couldn't really see it because I was doing my own thing. I didn't, and that's not like me to not give a crap about my siblings, but I could not see what he was going through until my parents were like, he's got to go away. He's got to go to Teen Challenge. He's going to go away and he's going to get better. And I was like, why? And then I found out that things were going on at school, and he was moving out to go do these things with his friends, and I hadn't taken a minute to even realize that my brother wasn't around, and that like sent me into a whole ass reality check that I didn't recognize that my brother had left the house months ago. Like, I wasn't looking around me at all. And my brother had full on up and left to go live with his friends and do their own party thing, and I couldn't be bothered to miss him because I was in my room and I was isolating myself, and then when I wasn't, I was out with my friend, and it was just it hit me in the gut. And I was like, my siblings, my younger siblings, my sister started trying to hang out with the same people, or the younger siblings of the people that I was, and, started doing those same things. And I kept trying to stop her. Like, you really need to stop, because at first it was, she started smoking cigarettes, and I'm like, that's gross. Like, stop doing that. And then it was drinking, and then it was getting into the same, we were going to the same sleepovers and doing those same things. And I was like, oh, no, you can't be here. You can't be here. And it honestly took a night of me seeing her. She's about 2 years younger than I am. And it honestly took me seeing her drunk and me having to and I was sober at that time because I was not trying to get drunk in front of my sister, but my sister, I saw it happen and I was like, oh my God, like this is what I'm showing her is okay. And I decided then to like, okay, like tomorrow morning, like this is not going to happen again. I've got to get my shit together. And it was horrible. I really didn't know how to cope. I had to like get into therapy and get my own shit together, get my skills and everything together and honed in. And it sucked, like really sucked. And I felt like shit for a long time. Sometimes I still feel like shit, I guess. But I mean, I didn't get into a 12-step program, and I went to like very intense therapy, and I had to own up to all my stuff and doing my own thing. But I'm very fortunate that I did that when I was 17, and now I'm 23. But I started going through therapy and getting all my things together, and I got like involved in my parents' church, and I met my now fiance. I met David, and we started doing some like missions work together, working with children. And my mom and I were fighting about it, which is actually how we got back in contact. She didn't want me to leave the state. We started fighting about this, and I'd finally gotten my own stuff together to sort of help her in a way, because my stepdad at the time was telling me like, she's doing drugs, like you need to come here and like help her. And I tried to drag my brother out of the house, and she and I ended up fighting about that. And I mean, to this day, I don't know, because they both maintain that the other one was lying. Like, he's like, no, she was on drugs, and she's like, no, I never was. And but I didn't live there, and I genuinely don't know. And it took a very long time for any of us to really reconcile our relationship. And my brother and I are okay. I think we'll always be okay. But my mom is here, so she and I are a little bit better. But my brother, I think I'm the only one that's other than my older brother who did go to treatment. He is 1.5 years sober, so I'm very, very proud of him. But I think I'm the only one other than that who is sober. My younger brother doesn't really seem to have a problem. He has like his own set of rules, if that makes sense. Like, which I think is admirable. My mom doesn't admit to any sort of problem, if that makes sense. So like, she and I went to dinner tonight, and she offered to buy me a drink, and I had to like politely decline but I don't know. I think there's like hope for all of these things. Like, I've gotten a lot of great things out of my sobriety. I know I blew through that. God, I blew through that. I've gotten a lot of great things out of being sober, and I don't have a lot of funny stories, if I'm honest, because I was just a dumbass teenager who did dumbass things. But I have met a lot of great people through Dopey, and I'm grateful for that every single day, like the great people that you are. I've gotten my fiance out of being sober because he is also sober. He's a normie, as far as he's never had a problem with drinking. He just hated that all of his friends were partying. And so he wanted to be with somebody who didn't feel the need to go and party. And I was like, hey, guess what? I will never go to a party. Ever. We can just have game nights and movie nights. So I've got a great support system, and my life is infinitely better for being sober. And so I am, even though I don't have like the dopiest of stories, I'm glad I did what I did when I did it, because it's made me a better person. And I know my boundaries. I don't have to ever wonder like, oh, if I tried to do that, how would it work? Like I know that it's not gonna go well. Like I don't need to have a quarter life crisis at this point. And it's not the end of the world. I've learned how to live my life being sober, and I don't have to try to figure that out. And the hardest part, I guess, of being sober is like making new friends, but that's what Dopey is for. So now I have all of you guys. And yeah, I don't know how I blew through that in 30 minutes. But that's all I have in my outline. So yeah.
I wanna take a walk around the world. I wonder would it do me any good? Until I get some money in my pocket, then I guess I'll just have to walk around my neighborhood. But I wanna be good so bad. I wanna be good so bad, so bad. Yeah, I wanna be good so bad. But bad desire is all I've ever had. And I wanna take a ride up in the sky and watch all of the aeroplanes just pass me by. And I wanna see a Learjet liner take a dive, just to show all of these people what it means to be alive. But I wanna be good so bad. I wanna be good so bad, so bad. Yeah, I wanna be good so bad. But bad desire is all I've ever had. And my shadow's getting smaller and smaller. And it's high noon where I stand. Oh, my shadow's getting smaller and smaller. But it's high noon where I stand. And I wonder would they pay it any mind when I leave this busted city far behind. I'll take the high road however far it winds, because peace and love are very, very, very hard to find. But I wanna be good so bad. I wanna be good so bad, so bad. I wanna be good so bad. But bad desire is all I've ever had. And these suckers make me mad. And it's all I've ever had. And it's all I've ever had. And I wanna call my dad. And it's all I've ever had. And I wanna call my dad. And it's all I've ever had. And I wanna call my dad. And it's all I've ever had. And I wanna call my dad. And it's all I've ever had. And I wanna call my dad. And it's all I've ever had. And it's all I've